The gardening season might be ending, but your work isn't over yet. Fall is your soil's turning point. Leave it bare and it weakens, but plant the right cover crops and you'll set up explosive growth next spring. Most people think cover crops are just for farmers. Wrong. Even in a small garden, they can rebuild tired soil, boost fertility, and stop weeds cold. These plants don't feed you, they feed your soil. They protect it from erosion, pull up nutrients, fix nitrogen, and fuel the microbes that make gardens thrive. So today we're diving into 5 powerful fall cover crops that will transform your garden from the ground up. Let's get started. 1. Crimson clover, the living fertilizer factory. If winter rye is the muscle of your soil-building army, crimson clover is the heart. It's one of the most beautiful, beneficial, and hardworking plants you can ever add to your garden. When it blooms, it paints your beds in a sea of deep red, like living velvet waving in the breeze. But beneath that beauty lies something even more powerful. It makes free fertilizer out of thin air. Nature's nitrogen machine. Crimson clover is part of the legume family, a special group of plants that form partnerships with beneficial bacteria called rhizobium. These microbes attach themselves to the roots of the clover and start pulling nitrogen straight from the air, the same nitrogen that makes up 78% of our atmosphere, and stored in the soil in a plant-friendly form. That means while other crops use up nutrients, clover is busy creating them. When you mow it down in spring or early summer, all that stored nitrogen becomes instantly available to the next round of crops: tomatoes, peppers, corn, or anything else you grow. It's the ultimate gift that keeps on giving. With crimson clover in your garden, you're not just growing plants. You're growing your own natural fertilizer factory. More than just fertility. Crimson clover doesn't stop at feeding the soil, it also heals and protects it. Its dense root system holds the earth together through heavy rains and frost, preventing erosion and soil compaction. Meanwhile, the thick canopy of leaves acts as a living mulch, shading out weeds before they can even sprout. And those breathtaking crimson red blooms? They're pure magic for pollinators. Bees, butterflies, hoverflies, and even hummingbirds flock to it, creating a buzzing, thriving ecosystem right in your backyard. Every flower is a signal that your soil is alive and healthy. That's why many regenerative farmers and homesteaders call crimson clover a transition crop, because it doesn't just fill space, it transforms it. How to plant and grow clover couldn't be easier to start. You don't need perfect soil or even deep tilling. Just clear your garden beds of debris or spent plants. Broadcast the seeds evenly across the surface. Lightly rake them in, just enough to cover them with a thin layer of soil. Water gently and then let nature take over. Clover germinates quickly, often within 7 to 10 days, even in cooler fall soil. Within a few weeks, you'll see a lush carpet of green filling your garden. It doesn't just look alive, it is alive, working day and night to restore balance underground. You can mix crimson clover with other cover crops too. For example, pair it with winter rye for the ultimate soil team. Rye builds structure, clover adds nitrogen. Combine it with vetch or peas for even more fertility. When and how to terminate. In late spring before it sets seed, cut or mow the clover close to the ground. Leave the chopped greens on the soil as mulch, don't pull the roots. Those roots will decompose slowly, feeding soil microbes and adding valuable organic matter. After a few weeks, your garden will be ready to plant heavy feeders like corn, tomatoes, or brassicas, and they'll thrive like never before. You'll notice the soil feels different, looser, darker, and filled with earthworms. That's the sign of healthy biology at work. The big picture. Crimson clover isn't just another cover crop, it's a soil revolution in bloom. It saves you money on fertilizer, brings pollinators, enriches biodiversity, and restores life where the soil has gone tired or compacted. It's nature's way of saying, let me fix this for you. So when you see those rich red flowers swaying in the spring breeze, know that they're more than decoration. They're proof that your soil is healing, thriving, and ready to feed you for seasons to come. Crimson clover gives far more than it takes. Beauty above, magic below. 2. Winter rye, the king of cold hardy soil builders. If you could only plant one cover crop this fall, make it winter rye. This isn't just a good cover crop, it's the undisputed king of cold hardy soil builders. It's rugged, it's reliable, and it thrives when everything else in your garden is fading away. When your tomatoes have withered and your pumpkins are harvested, winter rye is just getting started. Think of winter rye as your soil's bodyguard, a living green shield that protects and nourishes the ground beneath it all winter long. Whether you're gardening in raised beds, open plots, or even compact urban spaces, this plant is a powerhouse of restoration. Why winter rye works. So well, winter rye doesn't care about frost. It doesn't flinch at freezing nights, snow, or wind. In fact, it thrives when temperatures drop, a true survivor among plants. While other species shut down for winter, rye keeps growing slowly under the surface, weaving an intricate network of roots that anchor the soil and pull up nutrients from the deep. Each root acts like a microscopic plow, gently opening channels that allow air and water to penetrate. These pathways become highways for earthworms and beneficial microbes, setting the stage for rich, aerated soil next spring. Above ground, rye creates a dense, lush green carpet that hugs the soil. That living blanket prevents erosion caused by rain and snowmelt, locking valuable nutrients in place instead of letting them wash away. Its thick growth also shades out weeds, not just blocking them physically, but chemically suppressing them too. Rye produces natural compounds called allelochemicals that inhibit weed germination. It's like having your own organic weed control system, running 24/7 while you sleep through winter. The magic underground, feeding the soil. Food web. The real miracle of winter rye happens beneath the surface. As those roots grow and die back, they feed the soil food web, the hidden ecosystem of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and nematodes that transform raw minerals into plant-ready nutrients. This process is like composting on a microscopic scale. The sugars exuded by rye roots become food for beneficial microbes. Those microbes in turn release nutrients that improve your soil's structure and fertility. By the time you cut your rye in spring, your soil is biologically alive, teeming with invisible helpers that keep your plants strong and resilient. And when you chop rye down, the benefits keep coming. Its foliage decomposes into a thick, moisture-holding mulch, reducing evaporation and keeping soil temperature steady. It's like turning your garden bed into a sponge, rich, soft, and full of life. How to plant clear your bed of spent crops or weeds. Loosen the top few inches of soil, no need for deep tilling. Broadcast the seeds evenly, about 1 dozen 2 pounds per 1,000 scalars ft. Rake them in about 1 inch deep and water lightly. Plant 4 to 6 weeks before first frost, giving it time to establish before winter sets in. In just a week or two, you'll see a vibrant green carpet covering your garden, a sure sign your soil is protected for the season. Through winter, even under snow, rye keeps working. Its roots hold nutrients in place, preventing them from leaching away, and its top growth shields the soil from pounding rain or erosion. When everything else dies back, rye stays green, a symbol of life in the middle of winter. Spring payoff. When temperatures rise, rye wakes up fast. Before it flowers or sets seed, usually early spring, cut it close to the ground. Leave the residue on top as mulch or lightly turn it in. Either way, you'll have soft, dark, fertile soil ready for planting. Your garden will look and feel different, more alive, more balanced, and bursting with potential. Quick tips pair. Rye with crimson clover to add nitrogen. Don't plant too late. It needs a few weeks to root before deep frost. Wait 2 to 3 weeks after cutting it down before sowing delicate seeds. The bottom line, winter rye isn't flashy, but it's one of the most powerful allies your soil can have. It protects, nourishes, and regenerates, all while you take a break for the winter. Come spring, you'll see the difference in your plants. Stronger roots, greener leaves, and richer harvests. If your garden could wear a winter coat, one that keeps it warm, fed, and protected, that coat would be winter rye. 3. Daikon radish, nature's underground engineer. Now this one might surprise you. Daikon radish, also known as tillage radish or forage radish. Most gardeners recognize it as that one white Asian root you might find in a stir-fry. But in the world of soil health, this humble radish is a game changer. If you've ever struggled with compacted, heavy, or clay soil, Daikon radish is your secret weapon. Forget expensive tillers or machinery. This plant does the hard labor for you, quietly, naturally, and effectively. The living shovel. Here's how it works. Daikon sends down a massive taproot that can grow 2 feet deep, sometimes even deeper. As it pushes through dense ground, it breaks up hardpan layers that shovels and plows can't touch. You can almost imagine it drilling down, cracking the soil open, and creating a network of tunnels that breathe life back into your garden bed. And here's the best part. When winter rolls in and frost finally takes the plant down, those roots rot in place, leaving behind perfectly shaped holes, nature's own aeration system. By spring, those channels let air, water, and new plant roots move freely through what used to be stubborn, compacted soil. This process doesn't just loosen the earth, it heals it. No gasoline, no noise, no disturbance to the precious web of microorganisms that make soil alive. Daikon is like a gentle chiropractor for your land, realigning the earth, releasing pressure, restoring flow. The nutrient recycler. Daikon radish also plays another crucial role. It's a nutrient scavenger. Its deep roots act like straws, pulling up minerals, nitrogen, and other nutrients that have leached down where most plants can't reach them. Instead of letting those nutrients wash away in winter rains, Daikon captures and stores them in its thick white root. Then, when the root decomposes, all those valuable nutrients are released back near the surface, right where your spring crops can reach them. It's the perfect natural recycling system. Nothing wasted, everything returned. Easy to grow, hard to beat. Planting Daikon radish couldn't be easier. Scatter the seeds in late summer or early fall, about ½ inch deep and 2 to 3 inches apart. It germinates fast. Within just a few days, you'll see tiny green leaves emerging, and soon after, a forest of broad, lush foliage covering the ground. In only a few weeks, those roots are already diving deep, silently transforming your soil beneath the surface. Daikon doesn't mind cool weather, and it continues to grow even as temperatures drop. You don't have to harvest it, unless you want to. Just let it do its underground magic. By late fall, you'll notice those big white shoulders pushing above the soil line. That's your sign that it's working hard below. When frost finally hits, the tops wilt, and the radishes begin to break down naturally. The aftermath, soil reborn. Come spring, when you walk across that same patch of ground, you'll feel the difference instantly. The soil that used to feel dense and lifeless will now be soft, crumbly, and full of worms. You'll be able to plant straight into it, no digging required. Those decomposed radishes become organic matter, feeding billions of soil microbes and leaving behind deep pockets that store moisture. Crops planted afterward, like corn, beans, or carrots, will send their roots straight down those old tunnels, growing faster and stronger than ever. A hidden bonus: weed control. Here's something most people don't realize. Daikon radish also suppresses weeds. Its dense canopy shades out unwanted growth in fall and winter, smothering weed seedlings before they can establish. So while Daikon is rebuilding your soil below, it's also cleaning your garden above. Why every gardener should grow it. Whether you have a backyard garden, a small homestead, or even raised beds, Daikon radish deserves a place in your fall planting plan. It's inexpensive, low maintenance, and produces visible results in just one season. You'll spend less time digging and amending, and more time harvesting and enjoying rich, fertile earth. Think of Daikon as your soil's personal renovation team. It breaks compaction, builds structure, balances nutrients, and boosts life, all without lifting a shovel. It's quiet, efficient, and powerful. Proof that sometimes the most unassuming plants can do the most extraordinary work. So if your garden beds feel tired, or your clay soil feels like concrete, don't fight it with machines. Plant Daikon radish instead. By the time spring arrives, you'll be digging your hands into dark, fluffy, perfectly aerated soil. And you'll know your underground workers did their job. Daikon radish isn't just a root crop. It's the ultimate underground engineer, transforming dead ground into living soil, one root at a time. 4. Field peas, the gentle giants of soil. If you're looking for a cover crop that's both beautiful and incredibly effective, field peas, also known as Austrian winter peas, deserve a prime spot in your fall garden. They might look delicate with their soft green vines and tiny tendrils, but beneath that humble appearance lies a powerhouse of fertility. Field peas belong to the legume family, which means they have a built-in ability to harvest nitrogen straight from the air. Here's how it works. On their roots live tiny nodules filled with special bacteria called rhizobium. These microbes take atmospheric nitrogen, something plants can't normally use, and convert it into a form that becomes natural fertilizer. When the plant eventually decomposes, that nitrogen is released right into your soil, feeding your future crops for free. That's right, free nitrogen, the most expensive and essential nutrient your garden needs. Instead of buying synthetic fertilizers, you can let these gentle vines do the work for you. But nitrogen fixation is just the beginning. Field peas are cold tolerant and fast-growing, making them ideal for the fall transition. They thrive in cool temperatures, quickly covering bare soil with lush green foliage that protects it from erosion, pounding rain, and winter winds. Their sprawling vines act like a living blanket, preventing weeds from taking over and holding moisture in the soil. One of the best things about field peas is how well they team up with other cover crops. Pair them with cereal grains like rye, oats, or barley, and you create what gardeners call a living partnership. The peas pull nitrogen from the air while the grains add tons of organic matter and deep root channels that aerate and stabilize the soil. Together, they form a natural compost factory right in your garden bed. This combination, legumes and grasses, is legendary for how it rejuvenates tired, overworked soil. The peas feed the microbes feed the plants, and by spring you're left with soil that's dark, crumbly, and bursting with life. Gardeners often describe this as a soil smoothie, perfectly balanced nutrients, texture, and structure all blended together by nature herself. If you're working with sandy or light soil that struggles to hold on to water and nutrients, field peas are your best friend. Their roots increase water retention and organic content, improving texture and turning dry, lifeless dirt into moisture-holding loam. And because their growth habit is gentle, they won't crowd out or choke other plants. They cooperate, not compete. How to plant. Broadcast the seeds evenly over your cleared garden bed, or sow them about 1 inch deep and a few inches apart. Water lightly, not too much, and within a week or so you'll see the first tender shoots appear. Keep the soil just moist enough to help them establish, and they'll quickly knit together into a thick green carpet. In mild climates, field peas can overwinter, staying green and alive through much of the cold season. In harsher climates, they'll naturally die back with the frost. But that's not a bad thing. When they die, they leave behind a soft, decomposing mulch layer that's already loaded with nutrients. By spring, it'll have broken down into rich organic matter that your next round of crops will absolutely love. And the results are undeniable. Studies and gardeners alike have found that a healthy field pea cover crop can contribute up to 100 pounds of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet of soil. That's a serious fertility boost. The kind of improvement that used to take months of composting or heavy fertilizer use. When spring rolls around, you can simply cut or mow the plants down before they flower. Let them decompose in place or gently work them into the top few inches of soil. You'll notice right away that your soil feels softer, smells richer, and teems with earthworms, the surest sign of healthy life below the surface. Field peas remind us of one of the simplest truths in gardening. You don't have to fight nature to grow great soil, you just have to partner with it. They're gentle, sustainable, and astonishingly generous. Plant them this fall, and you'll be rewarded with a spring garden that's greener, stronger, and more fertile than ever before. 5. Mustard, the soil's secret weapon. And finally, let's talk about one of the most underrated fall cover crops of all. Mustard. Most people think of mustard as that spicy yellow condiment in their fridge, but in the garden, it's an absolute game changer. Fast, fierce, and surprisingly powerful, mustard is nature's version of a soil detox. You see, mustard belongs to the brassica family, the same family as cabbage, kale, and broccoli, but it has a special superpower that makes it stand out. When mustard plants are chopped or tilled into the soil, they release natural chemicals called glucosinolates. As those compounds break down, they form substances known as isothiocyanates, the same compounds that give mustard and horseradish their sharp, spicy bite. But here's the magic. Those natural chemicals act like a biofumigant, a natural soil cleanser. They help suppress soil-borne pathogens, harmful fungi, nematodes, and certain bacterial diseases that can linger in the ground year after year. It's like giving your garden a deep cleaning. No chemicals, no synthetic fumigants, just pure plant power. If your garden has ever suffered from root knot nematodes, fusarium wilt, or clubroot, mustard is your best ally. It interrupts their life cycles, reduces their populations, and restores balance to the soil ecosystem. In fact, some organic farmers use mustard as a biological alternative to chemical soil treatments. That's how effective it can be. But pest control is just one of mustard's talents. This plant is a speed demon in the fall garden. In just 4 to 5 weeks, it can grow knee-high, blanketing the ground in a dense canopy of bright green leaves. That fast growth shades out weeds, prevents erosion, and locks in moisture, all while capturing leftover nutrients that might otherwise wash away during fall rains. And as those broad, leafy plants grow, they pull nutrients up from the lower soil layers, especially sulfur, phosphorus, and nitrogen, recycling them into their tissues. When you chop the mustard down and let it decompose, all those nutrients are released right back into the topsoil, recharged and ready for your spring crops. It's like taking your garden to a natural spa before the winter season hits. Planting mustard couldn't be simpler. After clearing your beds, broadcast the seeds evenly across the soil and rake them in just a 1/4 inch deep. Mustard germinates quickly, often in just a few days, even in cool weather. Keep it lightly watered for the first week or so, and soon you'll see a sea of emerald green leaves waving in the fall breeze. If your goal is soil health and pest suppression, timing is key. For the strongest biofumigant effect, chop mustard down before it flowers, while the plants are still tender and full of those glucosinolate compounds. Then, immediately mix or till the chopped greens lightly into the top few inches of soil. Within moments, you'll smell that sharp, tangy aroma, the unmistakable scent of mustard gas, the good kind. That's the natural fumigation process happening right before your eyes. Once incorporated, let your soil rest for a couple of weeks before planting anything new. This allows the natural gases to dissipate and the organic matter to begin breaking down. During that time, the soil microbes go to work, digesting the mustard tissue, building humus, and releasing nutrients in a slow, balanced way. By the time spring arrives, your soil will feel softer, richer, and cleaner. You'll notice better drainage, fewer weeds, and far fewer disease issues. It's as if your garden pressed a reset button. Another hidden benefit? Mustard's flowers, if you let a few bloom, are magnets for pollinators. Bees, hoverflies, and beneficial wasps love them. So even if your main goal is soil improvement, you can allow a corner of your mustard patch to flower for the sake of your garden's biodiversity. And here's a pro tip. Mix mustard with other cover crops for even more benefits. Combine it with oats or rye to add biomass, or pair it with legumes like peas or clover to balance nitrogen levels. The result is a cover crop cocktail that fights pests, builds soil, and enriches your garden from every angle. In short, mustard is one of those plants that over-delivers. It cleans, feeds, and protects your soil, all in a single season. Whether you're battling nematodes, dealing with compacted ground, or just trying to give your garden a boost before winter, mustard is the ultimate multitasker. It's fast, it's natural, and it's one of the easiest ways to reboot your soil for next year's success. So this fall, don't underestimate the humble mustard plant. Beneath those golden flowers lies one of the most powerful tools for organic soil health you'll ever use.